Hey, Forge FC fans, it's your digital host, Louis B, checking in. Of course, Forge FC's got a huge game against CD Marathon. It is a playoff game to get into the CONCACAF Champions League. And to discuss that, I'm very pleased to be joined by Wheels, Gareth Wheeler, the lead play-by-play voice for One Soccer, man, among all the hats that he wears. Wheels, it's great to see you, buddy. How are you?
Good to see you too. Yeah, things are well. I'm looking forward to Tuesday night. It's a big night for Forge Canadian soccer, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this team bounces back after last week.
A team that's not used to losing. They've lost just twice in the whole calendar year of 2020. You know, you got to go back a long time for their losses before that. But you've been there since day one. You've been there. You were at Tim Hortons Fields on that inaugural game. To have a team like Forge FC, to have a team in the Canadian Premier League on the cusp of the CONCACAF Champions League. I mean, that would have been like beyond goals that you set for this league, wouldn't it?
Initially out of the gate, yes, because I think there's a gradual progression that you take. And the first step was last summer. The next step is this, kind of path through the CONCACAF League. But I think that's what the Canadian Premier League has shown, is that club football in this country was ready to take that next step. There's no reason why a Canadian club can't be in the CONCACAF Champions League, and Honduran clubs or clubs from Haiti or El Salvador or Jamaica, they're all in this competition. So I think that Canada is at this point now where we're proving that we belong, more so that we fit in. And that's the biggest compliment that I can pay this Forge team, is that they do fit in. It's when they lose a game like last week, it raises eyebrows, because they've been so good that the expectation is for them to be on that level. And I really do think they're good enough to compete and play in next year's CONCACAF Champions League. So one more game to get them there. But it's a feather in the cap of everyone involved with the club and with the league, but mostly for the players. I mean, they've stepped up and taken every challenge. In 2020, it's thrown a lot of challenges their way. They've done so well with everything that's being thrown their way. And this would be a fitting way to end this calendar year.
Yeah, well said. CD Marathon is their opponent. A lot of people looked at their last game last week and said, that might have been the easier opponent, but, it's 2020. Nothing comes easy. How do you expect this club, how do you expect Bobby Smirniotis, with kind of a week of planning in between games here, to adjust his lineup to get a better result this time around?
It's a better team that they're playing this week, but that actually might suit Forge a little bit more. Last week's opponent was very unpredictable in a lot of ways. It was a scrappy brand of football, very quick players. Give them full credit for being able to stay in the game against a team like Forge and send it to penalties. But I think a more natural flowing game might suit Forge a little bit better. And that's typically what we've seen in this competition, them play different teams that are good on the counter and play in a much more traditional way. So Marathon is a historic club. They've been around since 1925. Watching them play last week, I mean, that was really my only glimpse of what they're all about against Saprissa. They created all kinds of chances from wide areas, just simply lacked a little bit of quality in the attacking third. But I think a clear focus will be keeping the ball in the middle of the park and not allowing Marathon to use their speed down the flanks. And they have two very good players in the central midfield. I'm not sure if they're available or not for tomorrow night, but Garrido and Benegas, two players that can create something on a dime. Both have a little bit of quality. I think Benegas has played about 46 games for Honduras as well. So much more experienced players. It's going to be a physical challenge. It's a decent side, but like I said, the game might suit Forge a little bit more.
And, Bobby Smirniotis and his coaching staff has had film on this team for probably weeks. They looked ahead and thought that there was a chance that this might happen. There's a chance they might play this game. So if anyone's prepared, it's this coaching staff. And speaking of that coaching staff, Bobby Smirniotis didn't get the coach of the year. But when you look at what he's done across the Canadian Premier League, when you look at what he's done across Canadian soccer, maybe not a household name, in the bigger picture scale, but if you're involved in Canada soccer, you know the name Bobby Smirniotis, you know the name Sigma FC, because you got guys like Jaden Buchanan who are making a name for themselves, who came through Sigma FC, Kyle Loren, all these guys, and of course Forge is stacked with Sigma FC players. Do you think Bobby Smirniotis is going to get the respect he deserves? Maybe it's not the rewards, but down the road we're going to look back and think, we're going to reflect on what Bobby did for this sport in this country.
I'm not sure that Bobby cares, to be honest with you. He wants
That's
to win
too.
first. And as long as he wins, I think that he is a happy man. Look, Richie Larea has told me that he's the best coach that he's ever had. I mean, that speaks volumes. Look, Bobby's a very, very good coach. Whether his next opportunity comes domestically, comes in playing abroad, I think that they're in a very good shape. The fact that they were able to establish Sigma, and it just shows you that football in this area goes beyond Toronto FC. Toronto FC is a huge footprint in terms of their academy, but long before they were around producing players, academies like Sigma have done a wonderful job giving players an opportunity, giving players a chance. You see Tajon Buchanan, you see players like Dane Sinclair come from this area, and they emerge from the college ranks. Some very good young players are continuing to play university football south of the border, then go on and get drafted straight into Major League Soccer. And now that the Canadian Premier League provides even another pathway, another choice for young players, I think it benefits all. I think you're going to see more Bobby Smirniotis players make their mark both domestically and with the national team because they are that good. So look, I think Bobby has such a good thing going on with Forge right now. The competition in this region is excellent. He's established the premier program in all the Canadian Premier League. So I don't think he's itching to go anywhere. What I think that is first and foremost is keeping this thing going. 2020, it was a knockout tournament. Let's see what Forge looks like for another full season. What players are then moved on? What players come in? We're still in the very early stage of this project, and every step of the way, Bobby's passed and had received straight A's across the board in virtually every category.
And not to mention, they're planning to get into play a chance in the 2021 CONCACAF Champions League, but we know they have a berth in the CONCACAF League in 2021, thanks to, of course, being Canadian Premier League champions. This is a big game for David Edgar. Eddie, as you and I colloquially know him. Eddie, of course, doesn't need much introduction, but this will be the last time he'll be on the pitch. Just talk a little bit about his impact on Canada's soccer. Here's a guy who's been doing this for 20 years. Before Alphonso Davies was a household name, before Jonathan David was a household name, people knew David Edgar. So just what it means to you, somebody who's covered this sport, what does it mean to you to see him hang up the cleats?
Yeah, I'll never forget sitting there on New Year's Day as a 17-year-old, him scoring, the equalizer against my club that I supported, Manchester United. And on the field that day where Eddie scored that goal, Cristiano Ronaldo, Wayne Rooney, Paul Scholes, Ryan Giggs, Gary Neville, Rio Ferdinand, like some of the biggest names that football has provided over the last few decades, are on the field at the same time as David Edgar scores that goal. And the thing about Eddie and any player of his vintage, I give them all the credit in the world because things are much easier now for players. There's opportunity. He was forced to move overseas as a young man from Kitchener and go out and live with his nan and try to carve out a footballing career. He did so incredibly well at Newcastle, at Burnley, at Sheffield United. These are big clubs. And for a Canadian to be able to find his way through that landscape, I think is a testament to his quality and the type of player that he was. And he'll even tell you, I made mistakes along the way, but he still reached that mark, which was incredible. All the while just representing Canada with pride, a time where our national team didn't have enough games, didn't have enough support, didn't get enough coverage. Yet he never complained. And I love the fact that he comes home to finish his career in this country, has a career-altering injury, career-threatening injury that he goes through, but shows enough perseverance to go play in Nashville and play in Ottawa, finding different homes and trying to find opportunities to keep his professional footballing career alive. And then he finishes it in his own backyard, right? It's a fairy tale, winning 2 back-to-back championships along the way. I think that the type of guy he is means a lot. What he does on the field, I don't know if Forge are 2-time champions without David Edgar in the team, just a stabilizing force at the back and a good leader for the young players to rally around. And what I love about this, Louis, is that he's not going anywhere. He's just going to be influencing Canadian soccer from a positive perspective from the coaching ranks and other places. And he told me, this league, it's about younger players getting the opportunity. I just love that, that ability to kind of understand what this is all about and understand that he's still going to be an asset in a much different way. Players like him should be celebrated. So hopefully he can go on a high on Tuesday night and we can celebrate him over a couple beers sometime in the new year.
Sounds good. He tells me that we still need to celebrate the championship, so I know you're going to be out whenever we whenever we get to do that. Whenever we get to be together, Gareth, I'm very pleased that we get to be together today. Thanks so much for doing this, buddy. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, enjoy Tuesday night. It's a big night for Forge, a big night for Canadian soccer. And look, I want to see what this hungry Forge team looks like. I think some players are going to be ready to step up their performance, and they know what's on the line, right? You got to go out and win this one, so can't wait. I hope that everyone enjoys it.
Well said. There he is, Gareth Wheeler, One Soccer lead play-by-play analyst.
We are the Forge, the mighty, mighty.